Today we're here with Alison Brod of Alison Brod PR. She is our next power player here on 360. There might be some people out there who don't know what a PR agency does.
What I think all PR agencies now are doing is more marketing. It's placing things in magazines and coming up with creative ways to get people like you to say, gosh, that's a really interesting idea, and putting it on TV and getting the word out there.
Tell me how you got started.
I gave myself a week after graduation. I was going to find a job, an apartment, and a roommate in 30 days. On the fourth day, I met a guy. He took me to a benefit that was honoring Cy Newhouse, who owns Condé Nast. At this benefit, I met the woman who I'd interviewed with a day before. And when I'd interviewed with this woman who owned one of the largest fashion PR agencies at the time, she said, well, you don't have any contacts. I can't hire you. When she saw me at the benefit, I walked up to her and I said, I know you're the best in the business. I want to work for you. She smiled and went back to eating. But then she called me at 8:30 the next morning and said, you have a job.
From that first job opportunity, Alison continued to meet influential people. One of them offered to be her first client in her own PR firm.
It was the relaunch of Burberry fragrances, Escada, and Van Cleef & Arpels. It was a very lucky break.
Being a woman in the business world, what challenges have you faced?
In all honesty, I do think if I was a man, I'd probably be able to get away with charging higher fees. There's always going to be that threshold, and a guy in a suit and tie will always negotiate a little bit differently than a woman. You can see The Office, it's all pink. We've actually embraced the femininity, and we market a lot to women. That said, we do have a lot of clients that are male skincare brands or that are men's brands.
What are the greatest rewards of having your own company?
We get to meet so many people. And the way that we get new clients, even when I was single, I never called the boy. And it's sort of the same philosophy here. I'll never aggressively pitch a client or make that call. If there's somebody that I want, I'll find 5 people that know this potential client, and I'll have them call. So I'll flirt with them, and I'll woo them a little bit, and then I'll wait for the call. And I would say 99% of the time, that call comes.
Let's talk about family and career. You have 2 sons. You've been married for about 15 years. How do you balance it all?
We do a lot of children's events that I can bring my sons to. I always thought that when I had kids, my clients would think of me as weaker, that they wouldn't get my full attention. And what I actually found is that it brought me closer to a lot of clients. It sort of humanizes a person when they have children.
If you were going to write a how to create your own business book, what would it be called?
Here's what you really can do. I think a lot of people don't think that they can do things. If you think things through, you do your research, most people can do almost anything.
How many emails do you receive a day?
There's the CC, and if you're CC'd on things, you can receive hundreds and hundreds of emails.
What's your favorite gossip site?
I would say Gawker is my favorite gossip site.
What would be your dream product to promote?
I think the airline industry is really interesting. It's a bad time for airlines, but I think creativity, what JetBlue did, I think it would be incredibly fantastic to come up with an airline concept if I had an unlimited budget.
Alison, what are the 3 things you just can't live without?
One of them would be lip gloss. I wear lip gloss 24 hours a day, even when I'm home, and it's the first thing I do after I brush my teeth is I put lip gloss on. My greatest hits of the 80s songs on my iPod. That's the thing that energizes me the most. The New York Observer, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Post, the New York Times, and I always will read even the headlines of these newspapers before I walk into a breakfast meeting.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming.